everybody, it's Monday, week 2 of weirdness lockdown, 30th of March. Again, I've left it quite late in the day to get this recorded, so I hope the light's going to be okay. I'm steaming along on my dad's Christmas socks. I've shown you the work in progress before, but Dad has quite big feet. And because the crunkled socks pattern that I'm using, which is a pattern by K.F. Jones of the Bakery Bears, it's a knit and purl design. It is a paid for pattern, so I can't give the details away. You can find it on Ravelry. But it will use up even more yarn than usual. And my dad has enormous feet. So I thought I would have a rifle through my collection of minis and scraps to see if I can find something nice for a contrast toe, and thought you might like to join me in a rummage. Here is my sock project. I'm knitting it on my 2.25mm Chow Goose, and this is a lovely little cup of tea stitch marker by Chapel View Crafts. Really love that. This is the yarn. So as you can see, it's got sort of powdery blues, greys, a kind of yellow and a touch of pink. When I pack my project up, I keep it in this needle cozy by Mrs. S Creations, and she very kindly donated loads of these needle cozies to one of the retreats last year, and there was enough left over for me to pinch one. I'm keeping the whole thing in my project bag that was made for me by Jeanette, and I've decorated it with my Joy of Socks pin, which was a present from Catherine. And just to keep track of my pattern repeats, I'm using my Knit Pro clicky row counter, which I bought from Angela of Yarn and Yarns, and here's my yarn tag as well. Yeah, colourway 07491, and the inevitable cup of tea. Okay, this is my collection of scraps and minis. I do have a glass jar with some more in downstairs, but that tends to be much smaller amounts, and I just use those for sort of leaders for spinning and things like that. So I'll talk you through what I've got first, and then I will actually try and find a colour that will go. First of all, I've got 2 sets of Advent minis, and I keep these all together. I did a monthly thread swap on Ravelry last Christmas, and in amongst the other bits and pieces that I got from the lovely Jennifer were these really nice minis. That one's a DK. I think all the rest are 4-ply, and I recognise these 2 as opal, but I've kept all of those together so that when I knit a blanket square, I can keep all those in the same square. And then these are the minis sent to me by lovely Caroline. She sent me a complete surprise advent calendar, and there's some of her yarn in here. This is her colourful soft sock, and some from other people, and she was very, very organised and labelled them all for me, so I know what they were. These 2 sets up here are all by Kelly, who is Lay Family Yarn. Now, let me just find her card. There we are, Lay Family Yarn. These I think are 10 gram minis, and these are 20 gram minis. And she attended last summer's Knit Tea Retreat and was also a vendor. And I tried my absolute hardest to pay her for these, but she point blank refused. So I'm glad that I'm being able to wave them around on Instagram to give her some free advertising. So these are the little cabin minis, superwash merino and nylon, 5 sets of 20 gram minis. And Kelly has the most beautiful soft palette of colours in her dyed yarn, and pastels and things can make me look a little bit washed out, but I do love them. So I'm really looking forward to being able to work with these yarns in my blanket. I've also got a set of minis from, the string's getting in the way, Down Sheepy Lane. She has updated her logo since these, but again, this was a gift she kindly gave to us from the very first Knit Tea Retreat back in October. So again, I'm keeping these all together to go into my blanket. Now, this section up here, these are all leftovers from various things I've made. So this one is Regia, that's socks for my dad. That's West Yorkshire Spinners Pheasant, another set of Dad's Christmas socks. That's some opal, and I made Mum some in that one. This yarn, explosive pink and purple, was a present from Melissa, and I've got socks in that. West Yorkshire Spinners Christmas yarn from 2 years ago. That's some of Jenny's self-striping Owl About yarn. This one is also one of Jenny's, but I can't remember the name, and I knit myself a pair of socks in those, so I'm keeping that for darning. And this one is Grundle Hot Socks Knit Cashmere, and I made my mum a pair of socks in that, and she says it's holding up nicely, which is really good. And that's some of my very first sock yarn I ever knit. Again, that was Jenny's yarn, and I made myself a pair of monkeys by Cookie A, and they're still going strong. So all of these I'm happy to use, but I do want to make sure I keep a little bit just for darning purposes. This is some of the earliest expensive indie dyed yarn I ever bought. This is Fibre Spate Scrumptious, which is a 55-45 merino silk blend in 4-ply, and I bought 2 skeins and I hoarded it for months, if not years, and eventually I knit my Mayapple shawl out of it, which is a pattern by D. O'Keefe. It's one of my most favourite things, and I wear it lots. I wear quite a bit of navy, so that gold colour goes really, really well. This top corner was all sent to me as a gift by my friend Sally. Hello Sally, how the devil are you? This one is some of her hand spun, and I think it's got a little bit of absolutely everything in it. I'm hoping you can see the fuzz on there, and I really like it, sort of autumn tones. And then this is a little selection of scraps that she sent me. Oh, John Arbon knit by numbers. Oh, Bellica yarns. I know the lady that dyes Bellica yarns. She's lovely. More John Arbon. Ooh, hand spun. Plum pumpkin, bamboo, BFL, camel, merino and silk. So again, I've kept all of these together. She sent them to me in this little purple gauze bag, so I keep them all together. And again, blanket squares for those. This little bundle of minis, the 25 Mile Hollow Yarn Company Choc Mint Julep Collection. These are Australian merino minis, and again, these were sent to me by a friend from Ravelry and Instagram. I don't know how she actually pronounces her Ravelry name, but you know who you are. I'm still hoarding them, and I'm very much looking forward to working with them. They are so squishy and bouncy. They're going to be an absolute pleasure to work with. And then I've got 3 little Owl About yarn minis, some leftover Jamieson and Smith from when I knit my tea cosy. I made the Sheep Carousel tea cosy out of Jamieson and Smith, and that's the brown. I've got 2 beautiful little minis that were sent to me by Ellie of Craft House Magic. I love watching her podcast. If you're looking for something new to watch, you should definitely go and check out her channel. She knits, crochets, spins, does dressmaking, cross stitch and bobbin lace. So she's a really fun one to watch because there's always something new going on. As well as selling bags and dyeing yarn, she is also a supplier for Hire. So now that I know Hire Steels is my interchangeable set, so now that I know somebody personally that sells them, I always buy from her rather than off Amazon. I'm not sure where this little nubbin came from, but it looks like lots of fun. And then this is a little Truly Hooked mini that I think Jenny bought me from a show. I think it was like a gumball machine or something like that. But anyway, that's going to be fun to work up in my blanket. So these are my options, and I'm very glad I remembered to dust my windowsill the other day. Now we are going to have to decide what works best with my sock, but I'm going to drink a bit of tea. I've done quite a lot of filming today between Dave's gym training videos and my training videos, and I've had phone calls to make, so I've got a bit of a sore throat. Okay, let's plonk this in the middle and see what we can find. So I think I'd like a bit of a yellow colour, What have I got for yellows? That might be quite jazzy. I think probably a solid colour would be better. I don't have very many solids, do I? I don't think that's going to be enough. My dad has quite large feet. It's an 80 stitch circumference sock, and he has size UK 11 feet, which is substantial. Oh, there's a red. Actually, that red doesn't look too bad. Yeah, I'm definitely a bit short on solids, I think. The only other one I've got really is that one, but that doesn't quite go. Or if he doesn't object to sparkly toes, maybe that one. What do you think? Orange, it is actually darker than that. That's coming up really quite bright. That's more of a darker Christmas red, and that one is a little bit grayer. Well, I think those are my only two options really from up here. So you'll just have to wait and see when I get to the toe and decide which one is going to work best. I'm going to do a question and answer session soon as one of my daily vlogs. So if any of you have any questions, either about knitting or spinning or the gym or anything like that, questions for me or questions for Mr. Pins, you can leave them in the comments down below, or you can direct message me via Instagram, and I will try and get through as many of those as I can.